One day, while sitting down for a delicious meal at your favorite restaurant, you happen to overhear a conversation going on at the next table between two teenage boys. They're discussing the Bible. Their first boy says, "How do you even know the Bible's true?" The second boy responds, "The Bible is true because it says it's true." The first boy then says, "You're simply arguing in a circle. You're begging the question. That doesn't give me any reason to believe that the Bible's true." And of course he's right. When we ask the question, is the Bible true? It's the same question we can ask about any history book. Does this book accurately represent what happened in the past? We're going to briefly look at 3 reasons why we can have confidence that the Bible is true. First, the Bible text that we have today accurately represents what the original authors wrote. Someone may ask, how can a book that contains writing from over 2,000 years ago be accurate? Where did the original writings even go? Well, we approach this question a little differently for the Old Testament than we do for the New Testament. When we look at the Old Testament, Masoretic priests took old manuscripts and carefully copied them to produce fresh new manuscripts. They then destroyed the old manuscripts to prevent corruption of the text being passed on. How accurate were the priests in copying the Old Testament? Interestingly, it was the Dead Sea Scrolls that answered that question. The Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in caves near Qumran in Israel. They contain information about people who lived during the first century, but they also contain copies of almost every Old Testament book. So how well did the Masoretic priests do in preserving the Old Testament writings? Well, Miller Burrows, in his book The Dead Sea Scrolls, writes, "It is a matter of wonder that through something like 1,000 years, the text underwent so little alteration." When we turn to the New Testament, our approach is different. Here we have thousands of manuscripts that we can compare to ensure that we have the original texts. Even if we didn't have all these manuscripts, the vast majority of the New Testament could be reproduced from the 32,000 citations we find in other early church writings, namely the pre-Nicene Fathers. Thus, we can be confident that the Bible text that we have today accurately represents what the original authors wrote. Secondly, the writers of the Bible were in a position to accurately report the events they describe. Let's focus a moment on the Gospels, since these tell us about the life of Jesus. The Gospels were written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who were followers of Jesus. Luke gives us a good idea of how the Gospels were written carefully. At the beginning of his book, he writes, "Inasmuch as many have undertaken to compile a narrative of the things that have been accomplished among us, just as those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word have delivered them to us, it seemed good to me also, having followed all these things closely for some time past, to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus, that you may have certainty concerning the things you have been taught." The Gospels are based on eyewitness accounts, and they were written during the time when the eyewitnesses were still alive. So if the Gospels were inaccurate, people would have known and would have accused the Gospel writers of spreading rumors. But in fact, we have thousands of people who become Christians because of the activities of Jesus during his life that are recorded in the Gospels. The Gospel writers included very specific historical details regarding geography, topography, local political rulers, and local customs. Some accounts included potentially embarrassing details, such as having women report that they found the tomb of Jesus empty. This was at a time when the testimony of women was not considered to be reliable in a court of law. In addition, the Gospels frequently note significant moral failures of the followers of Jesus. Furthermore, many of the New Testament writers were later beaten and killed for what they wrote and affirmed. The accurate historical reporting we find in the Gospels is also found in the rest of the Bible. Thirdly, the Bible is consistent with other writings from the ancient Near East, as well as with archaeology. And we can look at this a couple ways. First, no archaeological evidence has ever refuted the Bible. Nelson Glueck, in his book, Rivers in the Desert, states, "As a matter of fact, however, it may be stated categorically that no archaeological discovery has ever controverted a biblical reference. Scores of archaeological findings have been made which confirm in clear outline or exact detail historical statements in the Bible." And this really brings us to the second way of looking at this. Thousands of archaeological discoveries support the Bible. In summary, we have very good reasons to believe that the Bible's true. When the Bible says that something happened, we can trust that it actually happened. Of course, because the Bible records what God has done in the past, the kind of relationship He wants to have with us, and what He plans to do in the future, it is to your advantage to read it and understand these ideas. It can have significant impact on your future. Thank you for watching.